In 1973, with scandal brewing and the walls closing in, CIA Director Richard Helms issued a simple, devastating command: destroy everything. Boxes of documents were hauled out of safes, papers incinerated. Files vanished into smoke. The goal? Erase the evidence of one of the most disturbing programs in American intelligence history, a covert operation that aimed to control the human mind. A project that experimented on soldiers, students, prisoners, and even children, often without their consent, sometimes without their knowledge. It was called MK-Ultra. It sounds like fiction, a Cold War thriller or dystopian sci-fi novel. But MK-Ultra was real, documented, funded, authorized, and for more than 20 years it operated in the shadows. Today we're peeling back that shadow to reveal a hidden war not fought with guns, but with chemicals, hypnosis, and psychological torture. This isn't just about history. It's about power. It's about secrecy. And it's about the haunting question: could it happen again? Let's go back to the beginning. The year is 1950. The world is just 5 years removed from World War II, and a new global standoff is taking shape. The Cold War. The Soviet Union is now America's most powerful rival. It has nuclear weapons, expanding influence, and, according to some reports, a frightening new weapon: mind control. American soldiers captured in the Korean War begin returning home, changed. They speak highly of communism. They denounce their own country. Some even claim to have committed war crimes they don't remember. The term brainwashing enters the public lexicon. It's vague, it's terrifying, and for the CIA, it's a threat that must be countered at any cost. At the same time, CIA analysts are reading disturbing intelligence that Soviet and Chinese researchers may be experimenting with hypnosis, drugs, and psychological techniques to influence human behavior. There are even rumors that Nazi scientists, recruited by the Soviets after the war, are applying brutal wartime experiments to new psychological tools of control. That's not paranoia. After World War II, both the US and USSR raced to recruit Nazi scientists through secret programs like Operation Paperclip. The Cold War wasn't just about bombs, it was about minds. What if the Soviets could force a man to betray his country, or assassinate someone on command, or forget everything they ever knew? The CIA wanted answers, and soon it wanted its own capabilities. So in 1953, the agency launches a new program under its technical services staff. Its name, MK-Ultra. The name means nothing. It was designed that way, to bury the program beneath a sea of innocuous-sounding acronyms. At the helm is a man named Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, a brilliant chemist, a devoutly religious man. And as history would reveal, someone with an almost messianic devotion to breaking the boundaries of human consciousness. Inside the agency, some call him the Black Sorcerer. Gottlieb's mission is simple but extreme. Find a way to control the human mind, and he's given a blank check to do it. The CIA isn't looking for clinical research, it's looking for weapons. Could they extract secrets from a captured spy using truth serum? Could they erase a double agent's memory? Could they build a perfect assassin, one who would kill without knowing they were killing? Gottlieb believes the answer lies in destroying the human psyche and rebuilding it from scratch. One internal CIA memo compared the human mind to a computer. We must be able to program it, and we must be able to erase it. So how do you erase a mind? Drugs, for one. And no drug fascinated the CIA more than LSD. Lysergic acid diethylamide was virtually unknown at the time, a Swiss discovery with mind-altering properties no one fully understood. But to the CIA, it was a miracle compound, a possible key to opening or breaking the human soul. Gottlieb authorized shipments of LSD to CIA offices around the world. Field agents began slipping it into drinks, injecting it into unwitting subjects, even taking it themselves. One officer wrote that LSD created the closest thing to a controlled psychotic break we can manufacture. That's what they were after. But LSD was just the beginning. MK-Ultra quickly grew not just in ambition but in scale. It spread across the United States and beyond. Hospitals, universities, military bases, psychiatric institutions. Even prisons. Over 80 institutions became part of MK-Ultra. Most had no idea they were being used. They were shielded by shell organizations, fake grants, and secret partnerships. In some cases, researchers knowingly collaborated, believing they were advancing cutting-edge science. In others, they had no idea the true purpose of their work. And the test subjects? Often they had no idea at all. MK Ultra wasn't just an experiment in theory. It was an experiment in practice, one that used real people, with real lives as disposable tools in the pursuit of psychological warfare. The CIA knew it couldn't do this work under public scrutiny, so it went underground, hiding behind front organizations, secret grants, and unwitting collaborators. In one case, the CIA funded research through the Society for the Investigation of Human Ecology, a fake scientific organization designed to launder money into universities and hospitals. Behind the curtain, researchers were administering powerful psychoactive drugs, running memory erasure protocols, and testing the limits of human cognition. In Canada, at Montreal's Allen Memorial Institute, psychiatrist Dr. Ewan Cameron received CIA funding through MK Ultra Subproject 68. His mission: erase the patient's mind and build a new one. Cameron developed a technique he called psychic driving. It involved high-dose LSD, extended drug-induced sleep, electroshock therapy, and endless audio loops, messages played for hours, even days. The results were catastrophic. Patients entered as individuals struggling with anxiety or depression. They left unable to speak, recognize their families, or even feed themselves. One survivor later said, "They took away my soul." Back in the US, the CIA targeted psychiatric hospitals, prisons, and military facilities, often choosing subjects who were already vulnerable and unlikely to question authority. In Kentucky, federal prisoners were given LSD daily for weeks on end. At a Atascadero State Hospital in California, teenage boys, some as young as 14, were subjected to experimental drug and behavior modification programs. In New York City, the CIA went a step further. They set up safe houses disguised as brothels. They called it Operation Midnight Climax. The agency hired sex workers to lure unsuspecting men into these apartments. Once inside, the men were drugged, usually with LSD, and observed through two-way mirrors as CIA operatives took notes from behind the wall. They wanted to study vulnerability, suggestibility, control. In 1953, at a CIA retreat in Maryland, government biochemist Frank Olson was dosed with LSD without his knowledge. Days later, he fell or was pushed from a 13th-story hotel window. His family never believed it was suicide. Years later, his body was exhumed. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma to the head, evidence he may have been struck before the fall, and he wasn't the only one. Army Sergeant James Stanley was unknowingly given LSD over 200 times. His behavior changed. His life fell apart. When he tried to sue the government, the Supreme Court ruled he had no right to compensation because he was in the military. By the late 1960s, MK Ultra had grown into a sprawling web of subprojects, over 150 in total, each focused on a different aspect of mind control. Memory manipulation, behavior modification, forced addiction, sensory deprivation, and psychological trauma. Most of the American public had no idea. Until 1974, when the New York Times published a bombshell article exposing illegal CIA operations, including experiments on US citizens. In response, the Senate launched the Church Committee. Led by Senator Frank Church, the committee uncovered what remained of MK Ultra, financial records, redacted memos, horrifying testimony. Most of the files had already been destroyed. But what little survived revealed a vast system of experimentation, funded by the government, hidden from the public, and executed without consent. One quote from Church still echoes today. "If this government ever became a tyranny, the technological capacity that the intelligence community has given the government could enable it to impose total tyranny, and there would be no way to fight back." No one was prosecuted. Sidney Gottlieb retired quietly. Richard Helms was charged with perjury but never served a day in jail. The victims were left with scars, with silence, and with questions. MK Ultra may have officially ended, but its shadow lingers. Survivors describe missing time, lost memories, shattered minds. Some only learned decades later what had been done to them, and in the years since, MK Ultra has lived on not just in declassified documents, but in our culture. It inspired the Manchurian Candidate, Jason Bourne, Stranger Things, fictional stories about government mind control, but based on a very real truth. And while the drugs and tools may have changed, the goal hasn't: control. Could mind control be achieved today, not with LSD and electrodes, but with data, social media, and algorithms? Could someone's reality be shaped without them ever knowing? MK Ultra showed us that if power can push the limits of control, it will. And unless we remember what happened, unless we demand transparency, it may happen again. MK Ultra isn't just a story about the past. It's a warning about the future. So ask yourself, if they could do this then, what might they be doing now?